Hello again, my name is Nana, and I am a solo female retired expat here in the Medellin area of Colombia, South America. I have an entire channel with many videos on many subjects, and today what I want to address is not the research that I undertook prior to coming to Colombia. I researched a lot of countries, traveled, did all sorts of things before I made decisions. But what I really want to talk about today is the next step after you've made the decision of where it is you want to go and when you're going to be going. I can tell you that before you board that plane, there are what I consider 8 very important things that you should have handled prior to leaving the United States or whatever your country of origin is. So let's dig in. Number 1 is to handle your financial affairs. I'm going to start out by saying that you should not leave the country and decide to become an expat unless you have enough saved for living for a year. And that would include going to another country or going back to your home country. You've got to have a little bit of a nest egg, because if you travel on just a shoestring of just barely enough with the Social Security that you make, you are going to be leaving what is probably a stressful situation. That's why you're leaving. And you're going to go smack into another one because you're going to be living on the edge. There is inflation everywhere. It's nowhere near as severe in Colombia, and it hasn't been for many, many years, but you need to prepare for things. You just don't know. So always have a cushion. And if you don't have a cushion now, then let's say you're retired, then work for a year. Put that extra money away and then make your move. Another financial tip for you to take care of before you leave is to get a credit card or debit card that has no foreign transaction fees. Just take a look at my money video, and it goes into all the details of the card that I happen to use, which is Charles Schwab. And there are no minimum deposits, there are no fees of any kind, and I use it all the time here in Colombia because the conversion rate is spectacular, and when I'm at the ATM, there are no transaction fees, which if you've traveled before outside of your home country, those can add up. They can be anywhere from another 2% to 5% on top of what you're spending, plus horrible conversions. So make sure you have a good card. And if you don't want to get a credit card, you can do what I did, and that was get the Charles Schwab card, which is basically a checking account that's free. And then no fees on the card either, and no annual fees as well. Next, you need to notify your bank or banks and your credit card companies that you are going to be traveling. I didn't say specifically that I was moving outside of the country. I just said traveling outside of the country, and alerted what country it was, so nothing got frozen when I first got here. So just make sure that you inform all of your accounts of that. Now, you're not going to be able to get a Colombian bank account first off, and I explain that in several other videos as well, so I won't go into that in great detail, but you can use your card, such as the Charles Schwab card, and you can also get Colombian cash from ATMs with no fees with cards like that too. So before I got my visa and then was allowed to get my government ID and my Colombian bank account, that's how I existed, was with my card and then also with cash that I got at an ATM. And it was super easy to do. You also need to set up ways in which you can transfer money when the time comes from your country of origin to Colombia. And a lot of people use Wise, for instance. If you're planning on purchasing property within the first year, then you want to set up what's called a brokerage account. Again, watch my money video, and it explains how all of that works, because you cannot use US dollars in Colombia. Now for number 2, and that is your healthcare. I'm assuming that you currently have some type of medical coverage, and you probably will until the end of the year of whatever that year is. I happened to move mid-year. I had plenty of insurance time left. And what I did before I left for Colombia was I booked all of my physical examinations. That's including doctor, dentist, dental cleanings, eye exam. I just got everything taken care of. Is it good in Colombia? Absolutely. It's as good, if not better. And for a fraction of the cost of the US, because when you arrive, obviously there's a lot for you to do and just sort out mentally, emotionally, with the language barrier. I mean, all sorts of things. So why add to any form of any stress level whatsoever? The last thing you want to do is try to find new doctors and all of that sort of thing. So get all of your checkups taken care of before you leave. Also, make sure that you refill all of your prescriptions. Do your research and see if that medication is available in Colombia. Most medications are, and they are pennies on the dollar. So check into that first. But just to be on the safe side, I brought extra medication with me. Again, I didn't want to be stressed when I arrived. And just a footnote, most insurance companies, I had Medicare with Florida Blue, which is part of Blue Cross, and they allow, all you have to do is say, I'm going to be traveling. So instead of them allowing your pharmacy to fill a 30-day supply, they'll allow a 90-day supply. So that's what I did. And again, made my life so much easier when I got here. Another helpful tip that falls under your healthcare preparation is researching ahead of time the best hospital in the area where you're moving to. Look up doctors. You can email them in English. Get those types of questions answered ahead of time before there is an emergency type situation after you arrive. Try to get as much done before you leave as possible. This is going to not only educate you, but it is going to give you much more peace of mind. You'll feel totally prepared and you'll feel like you have those contacts on the other side. Now, number 3 is hard for a lot of people, and that is to downsize and declutter. Now, I must say that I just inherently have a bit of an advantage. I love to purge things. I just love to give things away, to clear things out. I'm the type of person that does spring cleaning several times a year. And I don't know, it's just invigorating for me to clean out stuff and get rid of things that I don't use or need anymore. So emotionally, this was not so hard, but certain items, as I'm going through all my things, do I keep it? Don't I? All of that. My best advice to you is do not leave those types of decisions to the last minute. It's just like last minute packing for a trip. If you throw things in, most likely you're going to forget things, have regrets. And guess what? If you didn't bring something that you end up needing, then you're going to have to go out and buy it. Even if you're in a country where it's less expensive, it's still having to buy something that you already had. So think things through with this and take your time. I happen to use a shipping company and shipped a pallet. It costs around $1,000. And I decided to do that because I have moved a number of times in my lifetime. And we all think, oh, it's going to cost a little bit. It always costs a lot. Oh my gracious, because it just does. I mean, every little nook and cranny, all little things you need, it adds up, adds up, adds up. And even in Colombia, it is inexpensive. But I thought, you know what? Do I really want to, for instance, go to the dollar store and get my spatulas and some cheap knives and things that are probably going to get rusted in a year? And that's true at those stores in the United States too. Do I just want something like that? No, I have some nice utensils. I have nice flatware, nice, good, strong stoneware dishes. They're white. They go with everything. And I pack those. I packed basically my entire kitchen, not as much stuff as I had. I had a lot of things for entertaining, tons of platters, things like that. My kids got a lot of hand-me-downs from me as far as my entertaining wear, but my basic cookware, not the super huge things, but the smaller items, my blender, toaster, those types of things. I even had a Dyson vacuum. It was expensive and it was only 2 years old. Well, I mean, even an inexpensive vacuum is probably going to be like $40 or $50 US in Colombia, I'm just guessing. Why spend that? I got so much in that pallet, I can't even tell you. I got everything that I needed for my bathrooms, my towel dispensers, just my waste paper basket. I mean, just everything. And I'm really good at packing too, thank goodness. So I got a lot of things packed inside of other things. And I had very little shopping to do when my pallet arrived. Few little items here and there at Dollar City, and I was good to go. So I'm really glad I did that. But if you don't want to do that and you just want to come with the 2 suitcase limit, I know a lot of people that do that and they enjoy shopping and looking for bargains here and starting all over again, then, more power to you. These are the types of things that are important for you to think about and really ask yourself, what is best for you? What's going to make you the most happy? There is no right or wrong answer. There are no mistakes, so to speak, when it comes to this sort of thing, but really think it through before you make the move. I don't recommend big pieces of furniture. The freight to send containers is so expensive, and you can buy furniture for far less than shipping your used furniture here. So don't do that. So then you have to decide what you're going to do with all this big stuff that you're not shipping in the pallet and that, you're not putting in your suitcases when you board the plane. What are you going to do with them? Well, we all know about Facebook Marketplace. I sure did that. I was extremely generous with family and friends, things that I knew that they would enjoy or could use. Then I just gave away. I also had certain families I knew about that I knew would probably appreciate certain things, donated directly to them. I love giving things personally. I mean, Goodwill and Salvation Army are great, but they just turn around and resell it. So I just like giving directly if I can. But I did that. I did Facebook Marketplace and I sold my condo. So the woman that bought my condo wanted a lot of my furniture, so that helped too. But these types of things, you want to give yourself plenty of time to get it taken care of before you make the move. In addition to shipping the pallet, I stored one container at my daughter's house that had some things that I thought I might need in the US if I was visiting there and I didn't want to go out and actually have to shop for it. So a couple of dressy outfits, something for a wedding, something for a funeral. I'm sorry to sound negative, but that was necessary for me to have. And if you've got the shoes and the outfit and those types of things that not in a million years would you use, for instance, in Colombia, you may want access to it in the US. And for me, that would save me a lot of money because I'm really tall, I'm not easy to fit. And the last thing I want to do is have last minute shopping in the US if I have to fly home for some type of emergency or a special event. I actually went back for a wedding. And I had rehearsal dinner and all sorts of things. So I was glad I had some clothes that I normally wouldn't keep in Colombia, that I kept those there. Now, how else can you declutter? I'll give you an example. I had, those big, huge tubs. They have it like Walmart and Target. I call them Tupperware, but they're not. But they're Sterilite, I think is one of the brands. They are gigantic. I had several huge tubs full of photo albums of my entire life, of my childhood. I even had old photos of my parents when they were little, my children growing up, just endless amount of photo albums. Well, I scanned everything. There are services that will do that, but there's really super easy apps now, and that's what I got. I'll put a link. And again, when I do links, it's not because I'm getting a commission for it or I'm sponsoring. It's just something that I used that was helpful. I used an app called PhotoMine, and I could photograph the whole page. So I lifted up the plastic, photographed the whole page. Well, once I had everything digital, we had more fun, my friends and family, looking through photographs, and we could actually put them on the TV as I was scrolling through with the app, and just so much fun to have it that way. And then if anyone ever wanted a print or to frame something, the images are there. But that way, oh my gosh, over the years, I have lugged more photo albums. And I must say one of the hardest things over the years, and I had done it several times with moves, is getting rid of favorite books. And especially, I'm a big art lover. I had gorgeous art books. They are huge, super heavy. My apartment is not big. I brought with me maybe 10 books. I just the weight of them, I don't have room to store them or have them out on bookshelves and that sort of thing. So yeah, I donated books to libraries and to friends and family. One last idea for downsizing is something I couldn't do because Florida is the land of HOAs and gated communities. Everything is restricted that way. Nowhere can you have a garage sale unless you happen to be in some rare little neighborhood that was not deed restricted. But much of the country is not restricted that way. So if you can have a garage sale, that's a great way to get rid of things. And I'm not proud. I mean, towards the end, I just had a mattress on the floor in my bedroom. The rest of my furniture was gone before my house closed. And I didn't mind sleeping that way. Remember, guys, I did van life for almost 2 years before I decided to move to Colombia instead. So I have been camping. I have way downsized before in my life. So it's not a big deal. It's all for a great cause. The pot of gold at the end of that rainbow is just hovering and waiting for you in your new country. So rough it a bit, and you're going to be glad when you step foot in your new domain. Another form of digitizing is all of your documents. Super important that you have some sort of cloud. I happen to use Dropbox, and you want everything organized in a way that you can find it. I have a file folder in Dropbox for automobiles. I have one for insurance. I have one, just for pretty much every subject for my will. Make sure that you organized your cloud so that you can find things easily. But that is something I have accessible even on my phone. I can access any legal document of any kind, house closings, whatever it is that I need, letters from Social Security, all of that I have available in digital format in a cloud. Number 4, update your legal access. If you have an attorney that handled your will, for instance, or any other legal matters, you want to set up a consult with them. Let them know what you're planning on doing and all about your move so you can get all of those documents and affairs in order. Number 5 is preparing your technology and communications for your move. Make sure you have plenty of space in your cloud. Now, usually they'll let you know if you're about to run out and you can upgrade, but it's important to be able to access all this important information at all times, whether on your phone or on your computer. You will need to install an app called WhatsApp, and this is the most popular means of communication in Colombia and many, many countries across the world. It is free to call, video call, text message, which is just called messaging. All of that is 100% free, and everyone that I know, Colombian or from any country here in Colombia, uses WhatsApp. So make sure you put that app on your phone, and you can just use your US number on there. It's fine. And that's the best way you always remember it. Just have that be your number for WhatsApp. And last but not least, has to do with your cell phone service. You want to make sure that you have a good travel plan for when you leave, like to visit, or for when you first get there so you don't have to immediately rush and get a SIM card. I happened to switch. I switched from Verizon to AT&T because they have a Latin American plan. And I just went ahead and got that. And it was super easy and seamless because there is now two-part verification with almost everything. And they want to send you a text. They don't always send you an email, even though you ask them to. A lot of times there's only an option for a text. So you have to have a way to get that text. So that's why I kept my US phone number and went on the AT&T Latin American plan. I wanted to get just a Tigo, T-I-G-O plan here in Colombia, but it's not going to help with that two-step verification. And that's something, if it had been, a few years ago that I moved here, I would be paying, $12 a month for unlimited data and cell phone service on Tigo, and I would have let go of my US number. But I didn't for that reason. And sadly, that's my biggest bill. That's my biggest bill. I mean, my electric, my gas, my water, nothing compared to that AT&T bill, but so be it. It's about $75 a month, but I need it. It's important to be able to access all my information properly in the United States. Number 6 is financial planning and taxes. You want to meet with your accountant, let them know what you're doing. You are required to file a tax return in the United States, and then when you're living in Colombia, a second one there. So you need to have a professional in both countries. I cannot stress this enough. Do not do this on your own, or you are going to way overpay. I don't know anyone that handles their own taxes in Colombia that doesn't end up spending too much. There are plenty of loopholes, plenty of deductions. Just make sure that you have a good accountant to handle your finances here in Colombia. Any bills that you still have that generate from the United States, for instance, I mentioned I have Dropbox, that bills annually. I have a Microsoft suite with Microsoft Word, Excel, and whatnot, and that is a reoccurring bill every year. You want to take a look at all your reoccurring bills. That's something everyone should do anyway, because a lot of people miss things and they're being charged monthly or annually for things that they don't even use or want anymore. But just make sure you pare down to only exactly what you need and that you have your auto pay set up in such a way that you don't need to even think about it while you're in your new foreign country. And so what else goes along with financial planning? Well, I'm going to include your mail, because there are some places that only snail mail. For instance, I had a business for many, many years, and I am not past the number of years where I am free from being audited. So if the IRS or the state of Florida wants to audit me, I'm sure a letter would come and nothing else. And wouldn't that be awful if I were a tax dodger, if you will, just because I never got that letter? So either set up a mail service or set up a relative that's going to get your mail. I set up mail forwarding for a year. Mail forwarding is just for first class mail. So the family member who's helping you out is not going to get a ton of junk. And then by the end of that year, there's going to be practically nothing arriving. It's not going to be a pain for them at all. If you don't want to inconvenience anyone, or if you don't have anyone to help you, there are many mail services that will collect your mail, and they will also scan it and send you images of your mail. And of course, there's a fee to do it that way, but you don't want to just leave and have absolutely no way for you to get any mail. Now, number 8 is a sensitive topic, and that's emotional preparation. Spend extra time with your friends, and particularly your family. Reassure them that you're going to be staying in touch. I chose Colombia because it's only a 3-hour and 15-minute flight from Florida. And I knew with all the money that I was saving by moving here, that I was going to be able to go back to Florida 2 or 3 times a year. And I made sure that all of my relatives got WhatsApp. We communicate all the time, either by just phone call, messaging, or the best of all is video calling. And to be honest, I looked back with my adult children as far as how often I saw them in person. It really, even though they're in the same area as me, it really wasn't that often. And most of our bond and connection was over the phone and FaceTime and things like that. So a lot of that really hasn't changed, but it's important for you to feel as if you have had that special time with everyone, that you aren't just in a mad rush and nobody has seen you and you got to hop on that plane. How sad that would be. So plan ahead for those heartfelt situations. You also need to mentally prepare yourself for the fact that there are going to be cultural changes, language changes, all of these things. I tend to be the type of person who is super excited by that, and I have an adventurous spirit, so it makes me feel giddy and passionate and all these good things to travel. But I know that a lot of you, it would be hard for you, and you need to get yourself emotionally prepared. Make sure you bring with you the things that make you happy. Say you have particular hobbies, say you knit, and so get some special yarns. Treat yourself. I'm a big fan of, yes, it's important to be frugal, but we need to spoil ourselves too. So back to the knitting analogy. Go and get some fabulous, I don't know, mohair or something to make your favorite sweater you've always wanted to have. Get that. Bring that with you in your suitcase. So that way you have something to be happy about when you arrive, something to focus on. It's a goal you're setting to get that sweater done, and that will keep your mind off of homesickness and all the adjustments that are necessary when you move. One of my biggest emotional comforts, and I know it is for a lot of you too because you're watching me right now, is YouTube. And I did so much research and I was so excited to go to a lot of places that I had seen on other people's expat channels. It really helped me adapt to my move and keep that adventurous spirit flame of mine burning, because I had a whole list before I got here of things I wanted to do, places I wanted to see, Facebook groups where I wanted to meet the people that I had been communicating with via the internet. I couldn't wait to go to some of the functions. Give yourself things to look forward to once you arrive. Now, what else is going to help with your emotional health when you make this move? Well, I can tell you that the better you speak the language, the more comfortable you're going to be when you land on that plane. So get an app. I did Duolingo, or you could get an online tutor if you want to spend more money, but start learning the language ahead of time. It also will keep you excited and motivated before your move, because to me, I actually felt more stress and questioned myself way more before I left than after I landed. I was way happy after I landed. So take that time to do a little bit of, in my case, Spanish lessons every day, and you'll feel so much more comfortable when you arrive. Plus, you'll enjoy going through the motions in the months prior to your move. So I hope all of these tips have been really helpful. And there's one last little footnote here that I do want to mention. It is so important to have experts help you, whether it's your taxes, your immigration, anything to do with vital records and bureaucracies. Don't try to do it on your own. I get a lot of comments, questions from people online and on the channel asking me exactly step by step for them to get the such and such visa, and about their FBI check, and they have this and that about where they were born, and they have a foreign spouse, and all these complicated things. Don't look it up on your own and try to do it on your own. And I would advise you, don't even get one of these booklets. They're sold all over the internet. Oh, here are your steps to moving to Colombia. Well, unless that is updated all the time by the person that's written it, it could be antiquated when you're reading it. Not to mention the fact that written form can sometimes be misinterpreted. You could miss just a tiny little detail and end up having to leave the country for 6 months and then start your visa process all over again. So to me, when hiring an expert is literally just a quarter of the price, a tenth of the price in most cases of what these types of services would cost in the United States, make sure you have a concierge like Juli Franco, who I use, an attorney like who I use to handle the real estate purchase that I had. Make sure you have people like that in your corner. It will be money well spent. It will give you peace of mind. There will be no surprises, and everything will be expedited compared to doing it yourself. So that's my last little tidbit to get that all lined up before you get on that plane. So everyone, as I always say, happiness really is a choice. So here's to living your very best life for the rest of your life. Bye for now.